Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our preview of the Payroll Work Center, one of the many new features that Cardinal will roll out as part of our upgrade project. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. We're going to start with some introductions. Then I'm going to give you a quick overview of the upgrade project and discuss our session objectives. And then I'm going to turn it over to Laura, who is going to show you the fabulous new Payroll Work Center. I'll fill you in on what you can expect in the next few months, and we'll end with any last-minute questions you might have. Okay, our main speaker today is Laura Swecker, our payroll team lead. You might also hear from Kevin Pawarda, who is one of our HCM application leads. My name is Dana Smith, and Monica and I are the change leads here at Cardinal, and we'll be facilitating the session. So we're going to switch gears just a little bit, and let me tell you about the PUM upgrade project. The Cardinal team is enhancing both BIN and HCM, upgrading these applications to the latest PeopleSoft releases. We started the project in September 2025, and we plan to go live with the upgraded system in September 2026. The upgrade includes over 1,400 enhancements aimed at improving the user experience and overall system functionality, including the implementation of work centers in most of the modules. So what's so great about work centers, you might ask? A work center serves as a centralized hub for users to access key module components and is tailored to Cardinal system roles. Think of it as a one-stop shop for doing your daily tasks. It consolidates reports, queries, tasks, and relevant links into a single workspace. And the My Work section highlights where user action is needed. You'll learn much more about the Payroll Work Center from Laura in just a few minutes. So we're giving y'all an exclusive first look at the Payroll Work Center. We're using your feedback and insights to help inform our communication and training strategy to our larger Cardinal audience. We're also hoping you'll be excited about what you see today and will take back what you learned and share it with your agency colleagues. Please feel free to share this presentation deck or the recording with other folks at your agency. So we know that virtual sessions are a challenge as there are often many distractions, but we are hoping you'll be able to stay focused for the next hour. We value your feedback and hope you'll ask questions because if you are thinking it, someone else probably is too. And lastly, please, 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 and I could add a few more pleases, complete our post-session survey. In this survey, we'll give you the opportunity to let us know if there are any links, reports, or queries that you think need to be added to the Payroll Work Center. I'm now going to turn it over to the fabulous Laura Swecker, who will provide a walkthrough and demonstration of the Payroll Work Center. So Laura, take it away.
Thank you, Dana. So before I get started, I want to call out a couple of things. First, I want to thank each of you for participating in our preview of the new feature coming to payroll. Everyone invited to this session was selected intentionally by the payroll team because of the roles you play within your agencies as payroll administrators, as the subject matter experts that are detail-oriented, and because of your deep practical knowledge of how your agency uses Cardinal. If you have roles in other HCM modules, you may see they have multiple new features with the PUM upgrade. In payroll, we have been fortunate to have the quarterly tax updates that included new payroll features that are communicated via a payroll bulletin and updating impacted payroll training materials at the time of implementation. The Payroll Work Center is the only new feature to be implemented with the PUM upgrade. This new feature will provide the payroll administrators a one-stop location to review and work items required during the payroll processing period. What you're going to see today is a preview. This is not final. What you'll see reflects where we are today, and it's intentionally being shared early. We're sharing this to gather feedback on usability and on how we approach user rollout, not because everything is complete or locked in. Today is about awareness, context, and early feedback. As I walk through this, I'd like for you to focus on where things live, how things are grouped, and how this replaces navigation, not functionality. Our training and job aids will be updated once the Payroll WorkCenter configurations are final and will be available as we implement this new feature. So, Payroll WorkCenter. The WorkCenter, as mentioned before earlier, is a central hub for the payroll core users that brings together items requiring attention and provides easy access to pages, queries, reports, and processes needed to perform payroll-related job functions. It includes My Work, which is your to-do list, a view of exceptions such as payroll error messages requiring review or correction. We have links, that is a direct navigation to your most frequently visited day-to-day task pages. Queries, where you can run payroll queries directly within the workspace. And then we have reports and processes, where you have direct access to common payroll reports and automated system processes. Then we have our something that's new, which is a work filter. This is required filters are preset based on the business unit companies to which the user has access to. Users will have the ability to filter what they see. You have the set default filters, which allows users to update the preset filter that will be applied every time the user accesses the WorkCenter. Or you can set temporary filters that allows users to refine the filter to temporarily focus on a particular criteria. I will show you how this works during the demo. So without further ado, let's demo. So I am logged in from Cardinal HCM. I'm going to click on there, and from the Cardinal homepage, you will click on the Payroll WorkCenter. For awareness, I am in a test environment as I demonstrate for you. So what you see here may not look exactly like what you see when this is implemented. Roles determine what you see, so your tile may look a little different from what you see there. From the Cardinal HCM page, I'm going to click on the Payroll WorkCenter, and ta-da, there is your WorkCenter. So a couple of things to point out here. You will notice most of this is similar to my favorites page and won't be significantly impactful to your day-to-day job. It's the My Work section that we are excited about, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. We are starting with a fairly simple work item. Once implemented, we will continue to review for potential enhancements and work with SPO to identify useful work items that will be useful for payroll admins of what you should be focused on each day. So we attempted to provide at least 80% of the components that you use on a frequent basis. What you will still need to navigate to the other links that you use today that may not be listed here. We came up with a list of 10 to 12 queries, reports, and links by looking at the ones that you look at most frequently. Ones used by the payroll administrators today, saved as favorites by the payroll administrators, and then by working with SPO on which ones they want to emphasize the payroll administrators should be using. As mentioned before, there will be a survey after this session where you can request changes to the queries, links, reports, which we may be able to incorporate. So let's talk about the filters. There's a couple of places here you see where there's some buttons. And up under the payroll error messages, you see 3 buttons here. The quick links and the settings icon will be disabled. It's this button right here that takes you to the temporary filter. You have the payroll ID. You can filter on the company, the pay group, and the pay period end date. I think what most of you will be using, those that have access to multiple companies, you can enter a company here, or if we have payrolls going for both semi-monthly and bi-weekly, then you can filter in on that particular pay group. As you see here, I have 263 rows of messages. When I click on here, I can go in here, and I am going to enter a company that I know is in there, IDC. Then I'm going to click on Done. And for some reason, I have to go in there and do it again. You shouldn't have to. And you see, ta-da, it's only one exception message shown here. So to show this is a temporary, I am going to go out of here. I'm going to go back to the home page. And then I am going to click on the Payroll Work Center. And you see the full list is there. The default filter is set up by you clicking on this settings icon that's on the top of the left pane. You see there is two options here. We have the personalized and then we have the edit filters. The personalized will be disabled, but you will have the ability to go into edit filters. And this you do, you need to click on a couple of things. We have the audit exceptions, and then when you click on that, you see you have this option to choose. And you'll see this window pop up here is the same window that we've seen over on the temporary filters. Pay run ID, company, pay group, and per pay period and day. So again, I'm going to enter IDC. Then I'm going to click on the done. And I'm going to click on done again. And you see it's now only one row being shown. Now to show you, this is a default setting. When I go back home and I go back into the Payroll Work Center cloud, you see that that one is still the one that defaults. You still have the option to go in your temporary, and you can take that out of there. You click on done, and you see the whole list comes back to you. But when I go home and I come back to the Payroll Work Centers, the default is back. I click on the edit filters in the settings, click back on here. If I want to undo this, click on done. Got to click on done, and the full list is back. Do I have any questions on this?
Regina has her hand up. Go ahead, Regina.
Can you make the screen smaller so I can see everything on the screen, please?
Does that help, Regina?
It helped. The reason I asked, because at the beginning you were saying you have 200 and some pages, and I couldn't figure out where you was getting the 200 and some pages from. But now I can see more lines that I couldn't see when it was large. But it's fine.
You brought up a good point here, which is what I was going to point out. I'm going to make this a tad bit bigger because I'm looking at my monitor and I need to be able to see it too. I was able to call out 263 because as you see here, so first of all, you can click on these little arrows here that opens up or closes certain sections so that you can see that you know what you have available to you. When you come into My Work, this is open. And this, what you see here is payroll error messages. And it's this right here that tells you how many errors you have. So that's where I was able to see that I had 263 errors. You're going to come in here. And so when you look at here, those that are running the payroll messages query, this is the same thing as what you're seeing in the payroll messages query. When you scroll over, you see the employee name, department, business unit. And when you scroll over to the far right, you see what the error message is. You come in here on, first thing in the morning, and you open up your work center and you start working your error messages. You go in there, you see which one has an error, and you do your research to determine how it needs to be corrected and so forth. And then that's completed. Don't anticipate that when you come back in here that now I only see that I have 262. This does not get updated until the pay calc is run. So you come in the morning, you work your errors, the pay calc runs at noon, and you come back in the afternoon and go back to your work center, and you'll see that the messages have been updated. So we'll come back to that, and I'll walk through a little more detailed demo after I walk through the other sections. I'm going to close this and I'm going to open up your links. Your links provides quick access to commonly used pages. You'll see here we have them grouped by employee data maintenance, process payroll, and then other links. Up under the employee data maintenance, you're familiar with where you navigate to the employee additional pay, your direct deposit garnishments, anything that's related to payroll. And then when you scroll down to the bottom, we have a few of them that's related to job data and modify a person. Now you notice when I clicked on this one, employee additional pay, that it took me to the page instead of me having to navigate. I can go in here and I can enter an employee, and I'm going to enter me and do a search. Okay, click search. And there I am. And then I'm going to open it up. And so it's working. And then when I go to, if I say I wanted to go to employee direct deposit, it takes me to that information without me having to go back to the first page to enter the ID. So I can scroll through here and I'm looking at everything for this employee, and it takes me to that employee. Up under process payroll is where we have your spot. You enter the spot transactions, review the spot transactions, review paychecks. And again, this is what we have found that most people had used most frequently during the payroll process. And so I go in here and you enter the information, and this is where you can start entering your batches from. Click on other links. This is your process monitor. You have something running. You can go over here and see what's running and if it's completed. And then you have your report manager. When you go to your query manager, this is just like navigating to the queries. You go in here and you enter the search to pull up the payroll queries, and it brings you up the list of queries that you can choose from. Up under the payroll queries, we have the ones that are most frequently used. When you go into employee direct deposit, you see it takes you directly to the page where you enter your criteria in order to run the query. And you'll notice what we have here is the name of the query. When you click on this name, you see the technical name of it. And so I can go in here and I can enter a company and say view results. And you see it's working over here. And voila, there's your results. And then you can, from here, you can click on the Excel spreadsheet and do a download. And again, you click on, as you go down, it takes you to the different queries. We have the workforce queries, which is again related to HR data. There's your employee job data, the position default funding, and then we also added in here timesheet approval, as this is something that a lot of the payroll administrators are validating timesheet completion. Close this link, and then we open up the reports and processes. You see we have these grouped by pay period reports and post payroll reports. When you open up your payroll reports, we start out with the base pay compare report. When I click on here, it takes me to the run control for the base pay compare report. You either enter a run control or you do the search here. And if you have a run control set up, then you can pull that up. And then you can run the report. And it takes you to, you see the process scheduler. Just as if you have navigated to that report. So what I want to do now is just a little demo on how this can work for you. I'm going to go back up to my work, look at my payroll error messages. I'm going to go up here and I want to focus just on one company. So I'm going to do my temporary filter. I'm going to enter IBC. Click on done. And y'all should not have to do this when we go live. But one time, I'm going to scroll over here to the far right. You see the message text here says the state tax data record for the state displayed below was not found for the employee. So I go over here and I see that the message data shows me that it's Virginia. So it's telling me that Virginia is not set up. So I can go over here and copy the employee ID. I'm going to go over here into employee data maintenance link. And I'm going to scroll down here and you have the option to choose the employee tax data. We're going to plug in this employee ID. And it takes me to the employee. So when I go to the state tax data here, I see that this employee only has one row set up with the DC state. Okay, so my error message was telling me that this was for Virginia. So, but I have DC. So should I be setting up Virginia here? Let's go to modify a person. As you see, the employee ID that I copied and pasted carried over into here. And so I can just click on search and look at the employee's address. And I see that this employee has an address of DC. All right, so is that the issue? Let's look at employee tax distribution. Again, the employee ID carried forward, click on search, and this is where I see Virginia. So this is the tax distribution. So to fix this, what I think the fix is that I have to insert a row here to change this to DC. Once I change it to DC, then I can go on to my next error message. Now, remember, I said earlier that once this is fixed, you're not going to be able to go back up here and see that this number was reduced to 262. You're going to have to wait for the pay calc to run again and then come back in and see if you still have this error message. Any questions?
Regina has her hand up.
I think I'm gonna be speaking from both sides because I do HR and payroll. I know both sides. So this modified person is new for payroll. That's normally HR, that's normally under HR function. So I'm gonna ask you, the new updated version is allowing payroll to change people.
No, ma'am.
Yes, all right, what you're doing on the tax distribution. I'm just gonna speak from a new hire perspective. We have new employees coming that's from out of state. Let's say DC, you have DC up there. And this employee is let's say he's a rehire. He's a new hire, but he's a rehire. Meaning he was already in Cardinal. So when he was with us before, he was a Virginia resident. But since he left, he became a DC resident. So I think this is what you all, what you have set up. This old record you have, I'm noticing it says effective September 10th on this tax distribution, but I think on the other one, it was a different date. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to follow because when payroll adds this line, switching it from VA to DC, that's what you're about to do, correct?
That's what, based on the research, I see that needs to be done is that we would insert a row to add DC.
Right. So to fix it, my problem is going to be, is there intercommunication with HR and payroll?
Let me clarify something for you.
I said, let me pause. Maybe I'm going too far, let me just wait for the whole entire thing.
All I was giving to you here was an example. This is what they do today. What they're doing today is they're running a query that shows them the error messages, right? And so they have to go in there and they have to analyze what the error is and how they need to fix it. And so that's what I was showing you. So, today they would be going in there and changing this to DC. Payroll has access to VU HR data. And so even in the workspace, in the work center, when they click on the link that takes them to modify person, they are not going in there and making changes. It's only display. And so what I was going there for was to see, okay, I have the employee state tax set up that's showing DC as resident, and I just validated that on the modified person, the address was DC. But I also noticed that it was the UI as well. So the UI is what tax distribution looks at. So I need to focus on making the change there. And this is what payroll does. And this is related to the payroll taxing and how it gets reported and so forth.
Right.
This is the end of, I got Kevin Forwarder.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I'm just going to highlight one thing Laura said earlier. It's this My Work stuff that we're really excited about because, this is our opportunity to push stuff in front of you. She has 263 because she has all agencies. But the idea is when you go in the morning, you see 5 or 6 payroll error messages that you need to deal with for your company. And down the road, we're hoping to add other things that we push in front of you that require your immediate attention. So eventually the My Work section becomes kind of your morning to-do list and your post-lunch to-do list. Some of those refresh real time after you fix them, but the payroll error messages, because it requires a recalc, those don't refresh until, like she said, at lunch and at night. But this is what we're excited about, is what we can roll out to you in the future.
Thank you, Kevin. I have James.
Good morning. Just a quick question. I think I already know the answer, but where I work at with the Shared Services Center, we process for like 22 state agencies. I assume that all of the folks that have that security now, we would see all 22 agencies, every person would, and we would just filter by agency. You know, we have specialists assigned to each individual agency, but we would have access to all of them, and then we would just filter like you've already shown us. Is that correct?
Correct. If your access gives you the access to all of your companies, yes, you would see the full list here, and you would filter on company.
All right. And then one other question, and I think you've already alluded to this a little bit too with a survey, but let's say that there's links or there's reports that we do use all the time that's not in our list that'll be preloaded when this goes live. Would we request that? Would it take X amount of people to request that for it to get added? How would that look as far as wanting something added to that quick link or that quick list of jobs?
We're going to be sending the survey out, and this would be your opportunity to add, list what you would like to see added to the list. And then, of course, once it's been implemented, then we will continue to look for additional reports, queries, etc., that may be of use here. But keeping in mind that we're not wanting to put everything here. It's just going to be those that you use most of the time during the payroll process. And then we would also have to, there's potential that we would, like I said, we've grouped this, right? So we had a different grouping that may be added here. So yes, you have the opportunity to request additional.
All right, I appreciate that. And then I said one last thing, and hopefully this will be it. Has there ever been a thought to where reports can be pulled in like more of a select, say 5 at one time and run them instead of having to manually run each one individual? Because I know for us, when you have multiple calcs, we're running 4 or 5 reports 4 or 5 times a day. It's like it takes a while to do them all individual. And I don't know if there's ever a thought of that or not, or if it's even a possibility. But thank you for answering the questions.
You're welcome. So Kevin has his hand up.
So we have had that same request from PSB, as you can imagine, because they have to run a report 65 times. We are looking at options. There is not an easy technical solution for it, but it is something we continue to look at. So I would say there's nothing coming soon, but we do continue to look at it and realize that's an issue for some of the agencies that run centrally for multiple agencies.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, James. Are y'all excited?
Absolutely.
Oh, we got a thumbs up.
I have one thing, and I don't know if you all thought about this maybe down the road. When you have payroll accountants that's T in spots, and you have someone else that's approving it, like my agency, we have a specific person approve spots. I was hoping that it may be something on the home screen to let them know you got some spots that need to be approved. Have you all considered that? Sort of like when people take their time off and then they have their approval module.
I get all the technical questions. That is actually when we were kind of brainstorming, what other cool things could we put and push to them instead of having them have to pull? That was one of the first things that came to mind is what if we gave them a My Work that had the 5, things that required their approval in a list and they could click on them and jump right to them. So that's the exciting stuff that we can do down the road. So we have talked about that exact one.
I'm excited about that.
So if that is it for my demo, we have another mentee. Which payroll work center features do you think will be most helpful to users? My Work, the quick access to links, quick access to queries. Ooh, quick access to links, 100%. Quick access to queries or the quick access to the reports queries? Oh, we got some more coming in. My Work. For me, I think that My Work, like Kevin said, this is what we are excited about here because you're able to go in there and see what you need to work for the day. And as we said, My Work is where you have your to-do list for the view of the exceptions. The links is the navigator that takes you to the different pages. Queries is for your report, the queries that you run daily. And the reports and processes are what you may run while you're working on payroll. So the links in my work, which is what I was expecting.
Okay, thanks, Laura. Over the next few months, as we've kind of mentioned, we're going to be revamping all of our training materials, including our instructor-led training, our web-based training, job aids, videos, all that good stuff. And we'll also be developing some relevant communications to prepare our users for the upcoming changes. And over the summer, we're planning to conduct a number of forums to introduce new features to the larger Cardinal community. As we mentioned earlier, and you can see by our little celebratory bird up there, go live is planned for early September 2026. Then after go live, we'll hold a number of additional forums to address any hot topics or provide any clarifications based on tickets that have come in from our users. So a lot more to come, and we will keep you posted on all of that. Okay, so we really appreciate your time and attention today. Let us know if you have any final questions or comments. You'll see the QR code and the link here. We look forward to hearing from you. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.